Canada has been one of the world's top destinations for immigrants, and this year was supposed to be no exception. Then came the pandemic, and nothing is the same now. Let's examine a recent study from RBC on the impact of COVID-19 on immigration into Canada. Link for the study is in the description. In the first part of this video, we will outline the immediate impact of COVID-19 on immigration, and then we will try and understand the future of immigration into Canada in a post-pandemic world. So, let's begin with the impact of the virus on immigration. Impact number one on immigration has been the number of permanent resident additions to Canada has slowed in March. So much so that it's down 30% versus a year earlier. Impact number two has been that less workers are landing for seasonal agricultural work in Canada. Already in March, there has been a sharp fall in temporary foreign workers arriving from Guatemala, Jamaica, and Mexico. Impact number three is on the education sector. Student arrivals have dropped in March as against the year before. We will have to wait till May and August to understand the complete impact on the education sector this year. And finally, impact number four is that the refugee resettlement program, a source of pride for the current dispensation, has completely stopped. Now let's move to the part where we try and understand the future of our Canadian immigration in a post-pandemic world. Before we head into the future of immigration, let's analyze the future of the Canadian economy. After all, continued migration into Canada depends on how well the economy rebounds after this crisis. A recent Scotiabank economics report, linked in the description, reports that the Canadian economy will rebound and reach its pre-pandemic level by 2022. As you can tell from the table, a broader recovery in the economy is predicted to start early next year. Remember, even before the pandemic, Canada relied on immigration to offset the fiscal challenges posed by an aging population. The Canadian economy as a whole, especially the large cities in Canada, need immigration to drive economic growth. As you can tell, Toronto, Vancouver, and every other major city in Canada relies heavily on international immigration to prop up growth. Other sources of population growth, including internal migration and natural increase in population, are just not enough to substitute international migration as the major growth driver in cities. The other factor to consider are colleges and universities. Colleges and universities in Canada have come to rely on international students to bolster enrollments, as growth in domestic students plateaued over the last 10 years. While those international students who are already in Canada continue to live and study here, if borders are closed and schools move to online learning, that could weigh in on enrollments this fall. If there is a reduction in number of international students who are going to come to Canada, that could hurt small businesses and landlords who depend on students for this revenue. International students, in fact, contribute over $6 billion in tuition alone each year. Some colleges have over 50% of their student body from abroad. However, let's consider the University of Toronto as an example, which has seen international enrollments double since 2010 to 25% of its student body. If just 1/5 of its foreign students decide not to come to Canada this year, it could see a shortfall of around $200 million on a $3 billion budget. So, as far as universities and colleges are concerned, this is a big impact. In terms of outlook, we want to conclude that the plans that were drawn may not be met this year. Remember, on March 12th, Ottawa released a plan calling for 370,000 new permanent residents in 2020, a tally that would have exceeded 2019's record-setting newcomer numbers. But just 4 days later, the immigration was completely shut down into Canada. So amid ongoing border restrictions, travel-related health fears, and the global economic downturn, we expect immigration levels to be down sharply in 2020. A recovery in 2021 will depend in part on the course of the pandemic. To conclude, in the short term, the net loss of new permanent residents this year could total up to 170,000, which means less than half the target set for this year will be met. In the long term, though, the prognosis is that immigration will continue as planned. 2020 being a difficult year, we'll see lesser number of arrivals. However, we should see things go back to normal in 2021 and 2022. Furthermore, we do think that 2021 and 2022 targets can be met. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates on Canadian immigration, jobs, and study programs from Setlr.